My name is Jason and this is my video out. So, I suppose I'm just a Jewish gay boy from Long Island, but I went to school in Buffalo, got started with a lot of activism there, and then when I moved back to New York, I fell into a lot of HIV activism, LGBT related activism, and just fell in love with the people and the energy and everything that came with it. So I'm now a part of ACT UP New York, a coalition to fight the AIDS epidemic, and I'm also part of a coalition that came out of ACT UP called Prep for All, which is expanding and fighting for universal access to PrEP. Aside from that, I'm also in and out of Reclaim Pride work, trying to decorporatize and demilitarize Pride and make it more about the organizations and the people behind it. I think we all have a moment when we all knew that we were gay. A lot of times we joke about it on Twitter, but I knew when I saw Ewan McGregor in Moulin Rouge, but that's kind of just a joke. But I don't know. I mean, I guess I knew I was gay when I was in 5th grade-ish. Obviously, it was a journey, and through that journey was a lot of bullying, was a lot of self-exploration, and a lot of internalization of homophobia, of societal homophobia, of just everything that comes with that. It definitely I always think back about how being bullied affected my queerness and what I do now. I mean, it all boils down to that, so. I had a few people that would, either in class or in the halls, be like, hey faggot, or murmurs and laughs from really insecure boys in grade school. And there was this pivotal moment in 7th grade where I was at a friend's party and someone said that I was a faggot, and I punched them. And it was one of those moments when you take, obviously I would never advocate for any type of violence, but it was one of those moments where I channeled that energy of rage and I needed to do something about it, and I did. And it came from me and only me, and I think that's what made it special. No, is a short answer. I don't think we're doing enough. I think we're on the path to doing something, but we're not doing enough. And I think it's really interesting when we have these big level, LGBT Inc. organizations that are trying to fight bullying, but not really caring about certain cases where it blew up. I forgot his name, but there was a kid in the Bronx that was severely bullied, and he ended up killing the person that was his bully. And obviously that's not, a scenario that would be good, but it was one of those moonlight situations where our queerness sometimes is an act of survival, especially when we're growing up queer. When you internalize everything, all this negativity and all this bullying, it can really take a toll. And I remember hearing this case, and it was all over the news, and you hear nothing from the big organizations that say they're against bullying. And I remember how deafening that silence was, especially because he was a Latinx queer person, and I think that really set a tone for what they were fighting for and what the reality of bullying was in 2017. That's a weird question. I don't know. I actually don't really know. It wasn't one of those things where I remember telling that person, but I came out to my mom freshman year of high school, no, college. Freshman year of college. And it was one of those moments where like I found my groove and I found like a good group of people that really connected with me, and I was able to be myself, and it was just a really great experience. So I told my mom on the phone, and I was like it was so interesting. I was like so like just like excited to tell her. It was weird. And that energy didn't really come back as quickly, but eventually it did. My parents went to PFLAG, and they embraced that community that they found there. And at the moment, it was weird. I didn't know what PFLAG was. I was just naive, young gay boy in college, but I was like, oh my god, you're going to therapy because of me? Like, what the fuck? Like, this is insane. But then I realized what PFLAG was, and I was like, what was I thinking? I was like, I have parents that are like voluntarily going to PFLAG. Like, that's amazing. And like, I've never been to a gay wedding before, but then they went to a lesbian wedding from people they met at PFLAG, and I'm like, that's beautiful, and I'm jealous. So yeah, PFLAG's great, and I think hopefully it's getting funded because we need more PFLAG. We need more parents in PFLAG groups. I think it's up to the individual. I think it's important for the public in a way. I think that hearing more coming out experiences is important, and we need obviously more of them. We can't get enough of them. But you know, I'm not really against not coming out either. If people want to experience their queerness in action and don't feel the need to have that coming out experience, then that's okay too. I mean, people have different ways of coming out, and that's totally fine. It doesn't need to be formal, it doesn't need to be like a strict thing. The epidemic of TG&C murders in the US, I think at least, I actually wouldn't just say the US, I think it's an epidemic globally. If you look at the numbers, it's staggering. And, you know, we don't hear about it enough, and we don't hear their stories enough, and I think it's just such a disservice we're doing to our siblings by not speaking up and fighting about it. And I remember we were 2 years ago, Kiwi Herring was murdered by the St. Louis police, and I wanted to do a solidarity protest because there were actions in STL, and you know, it's not really my place as a cis white gay man to do that, so I was looking for any transit organizers that were doing something, and there was. And you know, as an ally, you know, be present, listen, show up, and that's what I did, and you know, mobilized what action we did. It was just really sad. We had around 15 or under people come, and you know, it was great to have that happen. But you know, it was sad that we didn't have more. I had like so many people retweet it and share it, and I ask people individually, and it's just sad when we don't have our community support behind something that's so important and something that's so I don't know, like just really, really sad. I think we need a check-in with our community. Like, I think we find that there's waves of urgency in these times, and some people act quicker than others, and then it dies, and then it comes back if there's like a new bill or a new whatever. But Yeah, I think we just need that level of urgency, like it's happening in real time and we're not doing anything. Our siblings aren't safe, and they're not safe being themselves and in public and feeling their us authentic selves and in our society, and I think it's scary. I guess I would share that you know HIV isn't over. We have to keep fighting. You know, we're still on the journey to ending the epidemic, and we're not nearly there yet. And we need the same energy that we've had the past 31 years of us doing the work and ACT UP. We need more people. We need more bodies. We need more energy. We need more support. So at the moment, we have like stagnant rates of HIV new infections for the past decade, and the fact that it's not going down is something that is pretty alarming. We have Black and brown people at spiked infection rates, and we have still HIV criminalization laws in place which perpetuate new infection rates. We have Gilead Sciences, which is taking a hold on PrEP and not letting generics come into the market, and therefore having people not take it. And that's a big issue that we're having now. We have HIV immigrants that are in ICE detention that are dying from not getting their meds, from being in really awful temperature conditions and getting abused by people in that detention centers. If you're in New York, we meet every Monday at 7 p.m. at the LGBT Center on 13th and 7th. And yeah, otherwise, we do have a few ACT UP chapters that are global. We have 2 in France, we have 2 in Ireland, we have 1 in London, and am I forgetting any? I don't know. We have ACT UP Philly, ACT UP Boston, and yeah, reach out to me if you'd like. You can find me on, I'm mostly active on Twitter. My handle is my name is JRO, and it's full, my name is JRO. Yeah, send me a direct message, or send ACT UP a direct message, ACT UP NY, and yeah, get involved.